Hi guys. I will talk all about the technology-driven innovation. So, what is technology-driven innovation? Technology-driven innovation refers to progress and idea generation that occurs alongside the development of new technological capabilities. So, here are some different types of innovation. First is the design-driven innovation, which revolves around advances in design that add new meaning to existing technology. The second one is market-driven innovation, which occurs as a result of demand from the marketplace. And the third one is the technology-driven innovation, which refers to the development of new business models, ideas, and the process that are enabled by new technological capabilities. So I will give you some need for technology-driven innovation. First, we have to know the origin of the technology driven innovation. As innovation can take an infinity variety of forms, so its underlying insight can be derived from a great many different sources. Technology driven innovation usually originate in scientific discoveries and in hundreds of years of accumulated technical know how. These combined forces of science and technology drive ever greater specialization in the spheres of knowledge. When new technology make the transition from the scientific domain to realization in technology, inventors and corporate R&D groups, companies compete to develop commercial application. So here are some needs for technology driven innovation. First is critical success factor. For companies that do not compete in the high tech sector, the development and deployment of technology is also a critical success factor. But here the role of technology is largely in operations because technology is critical to every aspect of coordination, communication, and management in today's market. For these companies, technology is completely embedded in how people work, and improvements in technology applications can be a significant source of differentiation. The second one is technology providers and amplifiers. For companies, there are heavy users of technologies that are not their end product. Technology itself has nevertheless become a significant domain of for innovation. Technology-driven innovation, therefore, is a central to their competitive position just at just as it is a high-tech manufacturing. In this context, technology-driven innovation refers to the interplay between technology providers and technology appliers, and it addresses the complex innovation dynamics that emerge when they work together to bring new capabilities into reality. Generally, therefore, today's technology drives accommodation in nearly every sector of the economy. Unlike in the 19th and 20th century, when innovation in technology was a source of competitive differentiation.
Service innovation. So, what is service innovation? It is the changes in service concepts or service delivery processes driven by new technologies or organizational competencies that create added value. Different types of service innovation. Number one is innovation in services, which mainly talks about service products, innovation in service processes, innovation in service firms, organizations, and industries. What do we mean when we say innovation in services? in service products. So it is a new or improved service products. Commodities are public services. Often this is contrasted with technological innovation, though service products can have technological elements. This sense of service innovation is closely related to service design and new service development. For example, Airbnb. Airbnb is an example of hotel service. Different types of service innovation. Innovation in service processes. New or improved ways of designing and producing services. This may include innovation in service delivery systems, though often this will be regarded instead as a service product innovation. Innovation of this sort may be technological, technique, or expertise-based, or a matter of work organization. Example, restructuring work between professionals and paraprofessionals. We can define the service process as the way in which a company works so that a customer receives service. To standardize this in line with the company's identity and aims, managers will work on number one, determining procedures that contribute to the process, allocating tasks and responsibilities, formulating effective schedules and routines. Second is innovation in service firms, organization, and industries. Organizational innovations as well as service product and process innovations and the management of innovations processes within service organizations. So in service firms, innovation is what differentiates one firm from the rest, enables one firm to command a price premium while others are under price pressure. Third, it makes one firm significantly more profitable than its competitors. Fourth, builds client loyalty and creates a seemingly impenetrable barrier to switching. And lastly, a firm needs to attain and maintain a competitive advantage. Innovation, historical perspective. So, in the timeline of innovation, in historical perspective, we have five. First one is early capitalism and organizational innovation. Second is organizational innovation as duality management. Third, mobilizing competitive advantage, the organization as a network. And fifth is units in the process of steering and self-organization. So, early capitalism and organizational innovation. In this first timeline, we have factory based on coercion from the side of the manufacturers and willingness or motivation from the workers. Laborers also had to learn to control their language. Obscene utterances also posed a threat to orderly labor and they were fined heavily. The same dangers also existed outside the factory, especially in combination with alcohol consumption. So conformance with the industrial regime threatened by the corruptions of the morals in their free time. The traditional careless habits of the older generations presented an ongoing problems in develop for the new markets. Other side of sometimes harsh regime of Wedgwood was that he offered his workers housing and care for the sick. He wanted to improve his workmen a lot. He was concerned with civilizing their behavior and educating them. This was just the summary. You can actually find the whole document on the written report. Organizational innovation as duality management. If we cannot combine steering and control with self-organization and individual responsibility, the result will be increased rigidity, writes Andreas Craig. Organizations that develop a more articulate balance, either by accident or thanks to a talented leader, gain a substantial competitive advantage, he says. Craig, some of our modern organizational designs are based on a high-tension balance of binding agents and autonomy. The central balance become more articulate, mobilizing competitive advantage. How can we make this an even more conscious process? What is the required arsenal of steering and coordination mechanisms, and how can we combine it with increased autonomy and responsibility? In practice, we are becoming more and more sophisticated in this respect. A number of firms strengthen their duality and derive their competitive power from combinations of seemingly contradictory organizational principles, central and decentral, loose and tight, small and large. The organization as a network. This organizational design of small and large blends into network organizations. Entrepreneurs find their strength primarily in organizing such networks. The new element is the diffusion of this model to an increasing number of market sectors. Companies that take on this function are sometimes given the derogatory name hollow company. Lastly, units in process of steering and self-organizations. Organizations are seen as changing networks of relations between units. These relations are best characterized in terms of balances between interdependence and autonomy and between steering and self-organizations. Over the centuries, we witness an increase in interdependence as well as autonomy. External controls become more internalized as self-discipline. This higher level of self-organization, adequate steering. Gradually, the ability of organizations to deal with complexity improves. This often provides a competitive advantage.
According to McKinsey, 84% of executives say that their future success is dependent on innovation. Although innovation may sound like a buzzword for some, there are many reasons why companies put a lot of emphasis on it. In addition to the fact that innovations allows organizations to stay relevant in a competitive market, it also plays an important role in the economic growth. The ability to resolve critical problems depends on new innovations, and especially developing countries need it more than ever. What is innovation, and why do we need it? Innovation, by definition, is the introduction of something new. Without innovation, there isn't anything new. And without anything new, there will be no progress. If an organization isn't making any progress, it simply cannot stay relevant in the competitive market. Innovation really is the core reason for modern existence. Although innovation can have some undesirable consequences, change is inevitable, and in most cases, innovation creates positive change. Innovation increases your chances to react to changes and discover new opportunities. It can also help foster competitive advantage as it allows you to build better products and services for your customers. Last but not the least, innovation also has a positive impact on company cultures as it increases the ability to acquire, create, and make the best use of competencies, skills, and knowledge. Innovation practices can help build a culture of continuous learning, growth, and personal development. This type of innovative environment can again motivate people to constantly improve the way they and their team work.
Innovation has become a pervasive term. Many of today's organizations still find innovation is elusive. Mm, One of the reasons may be said about innovation can contribute misunderstanding. Mm, To truly manifest innovation and reap its benefits, one must recognize that innovation has three different things. First is the innovation as a process, second, innovation as a mindset, and third, innovation as an outcome. Innovation as an outcome um, emphasize what outcome is suit, including product innovation, process, mm, supply chain, business model, marketing, and organizational innovation. Innovation as a process attend to the way in which organization should be organized so that outcomes can come to fruition. This includes overall innovation process and the new product development process. Innovation as a mindset addresses the internalization of innovation by individual members of organization where innovation is instilled and ingrained along with the creation of supportive organizational culture and that allows innovation to flourish. Such an understanding defines necessary elements, consideration, and vernacular surrounding the term so that better decisions can be made, thereby enabling innovation and having a greater propensity to succeed.
As the public sector increasingly moves into the digital age and tries to take advantage of previous information technology, innovations, a more systematic approach is needed to envision the potential of IT and at the strategic level and to stimulate continuous innovation. This digital information is affecting all aspects of public sector, from data collection and analysis to service delivery. For example, big data is enabling faster, smarter, and more personal government services. Blockchain is the catalyst of record modernization and regulatory compliance. Artificial intelligence applications have the potential to automate government functions, and advances in IoT or Internet of Things and related sensor technologies are bound to shape infrastructures in cities and local communities. As Bolter said, appreciation is a wonderful thing. It makes what is excellent in others belong to us as well when it comes to innovation. Above all else, we should respect it, a profoundly human activity.
Describe the innovation essentials: motivation, support, and direction. Motivation as the key innovation. The most important factor for a company's ability to innovate is to the motivation and commitment of its employees. Innovative employees secure a sustainable market advantage, bring money, and thus contribute considerably to the survival of a company. Support as the key to innovation. The element of the innovation formula is the tools that enable you or support you to produce better innovation outcomes more quickly. This is often a sensitive topic for small businesses which generally don't have the resources to provide innovation teams with big workspaces, generous travel budgets, and fancy prototyping tools. What you do have is a lot of ingenuity, the willingness to work hard and achieve solid results through insightful thinking and persistence. And so the focus here is on supporting enhancing the skills and commitment you have without spending much money. Direction as the key to innovation. Firms pursue inefficient research directions because they race to discover easy yet less valuable projects, and because they work on difficult inventions where they can appropriate a larger portion of the social value. Fixing these inefficiencies requires policy to condition on properties of inventions that could have been discovered but were not. Policies which do not do so, like patents and prices, may fail to encourage firms to research in the efficient direction.